Hello, Lewis.
Hello.
Great to have you on here. Thank you for joining me. I'll give a quick introduction for why I have started these episodes, these interviews. So, I'm a student of the real world, and it has changed my life significantly for the better. So, I've seen countless other people as well writing down their success stories in the wins channels. I'm not exaggerating when I say thousands of people I've seen. I'm sure you've seen it as well. So I'd like to share those stories, and we'll begin with you since I've seen you're a captain, you've been helping people in the chats. So I think, yeah, this is a great way to begin these interviews. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Lewis. I'm captain in the e-commerce campus. I run the Excalibur Legion with Jamie. Our Legion it's the same as all the other legions, really. It's more secluded area where everybody can just ask individual questions to a more a much smaller audience, so you get answers a lot quicker. There's a lot less chat, so you can focus on things a lot better there. I started out with the Aries Legion to begin with. When I became captain, I was then transferred over. The Legion captains can change as well.
Okay, great. I'll begin with going back a few years. Actually, let's go with how did you find out about the real world? And yeah, then implement what was your life before it? What were you doing? Maybe studying, working, and yeah, just the circumstances in general.
Well, before the real world, I wasn't doing much at all for life, really. I was playing games all the time, 12, 16 hours a day sometimes. There was a lot of life being used on games. And then after joining, it's very hard to just sort of cold turkey and just stop playing and stop doing the things that aren't as good for you. But instead, I sort of decided to ease myself away from them, and then ended up just putting a lot of work into the real world and started to see some success with it. At which point I sort of put everything towards it, really.
Why did you choose to do e-commerce? Why not copywriting? There's so many different things you could have chosen. So why e-com?
Yeah, there are a lot of things within the real world that you can choose to pick. I chose e-commerce campus just because online sales is something that I've always been interested in. I did attempt to learn it myself before joining. The lessons and courses that you can take outside the real world, they don't equate to the value you get out of being able to actually speak to others who have been successful, such as the Professor Schwabe. He's obviously run a very successful online e-commerce business, and being able to have actual conversations with him about it and get recommendations and tips from him and videos that he's recorded, it's so much more valuable than being able to just watch YouTube videos and different courses online that just don't really teach you as much.
Right. Yeah, it's a very structured environment with all the lessons, all the courses, and the community as well. I'd like your opinion on it.
The communities it's been great for me. I think not only has the real world been a huge help in learning online business skills with the community, I feel as though you can be a better person if you're around other better people. Because people who are joining the real world obviously have this sort of image of themselves that they can be someone better than who they are at the moment. I think just by being around these people, you can make huge progress in self-improvement journeys, just with the help of the community around you.
How long have you been in the real world?
I've been in the real world for around about 6, 7 months now. Obviously transferring over from the old name, Hustle University.
Right. And how long did it take you to become a captain?
I think it took me around about 4, 5 months. It was only within the past 2, 3 months that I've become a captain and been active in all the e-commerce legion chats and whatnot. It was certainly a interesting journey. I didn't expect to become captain either. It's not something that you apply for or wait for. It's something that you're given because you're active and helpful in the chats room.
And what have been your success stories from after joining?
After joining, I've had a lot of different small successes, some bigger than others. I think the main thing is the self-improvement for me, as well as being able to follow the sort of path that I want to take, being able to be around people that have already made huge successes in the thing that you want to do has been a huge help. As even a lot of people like Andrew even say, that you are the person, you are the average of the five people you surround yourself with. And surrounding myself around the people such as Sway, the other captains, and all the other successful people within the real world in e-commerce, I think it has been a huge help in the actual improvement journey and learning. I think that just the network of the supportive and relatable people that you have access to in the real world is worth the money that you end up paying for it, and the money making skills that are taught are honestly just a bonus.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now that you've had this change of trajectory in your life, where do you see it heading in the next few years?
Next year, I'm hoping to be quite a big year for me. I know that a lot of other captains have been saying the same. Obviously, this year, a lot of us have actually just only recently joined on to e-commerce and really started to learn about it. And even within 4 or 5 months, I've seen some quite good success. Um, but next year, obviously, we've all now all learned a lot about it. We know all the foundations. We know what mistakes not to make and what we need to do. I think it's going to be a lot easier to just get to it, speed, being able to test 1, 2 products a week every week of the year. Um, I think if you're persistent with something, there's success isn't an option. Oh, sorry, failure isn't an option.
All right. I'd like to go back a bit actually. How different is the material in the real world from your eyes, from what you've seen outside of the real world? Why is it that much better? Because I've had a lot better experience as well, but I'd like to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, I think the actual being able to speak with the people, it's a lot different to watching a YouTube video where there's 3 million comments on it asking different questions and then there's just random people replying with no credibility. Being able to actually speak to someone like Shuaib, who has ran multiple successful online e-commerce businesses, and then being able to talk to him, ask him questions about they have that more credibility, so you have more trust in them as well, and the answers are definitely more credible than someone in a YouTube comment section. Plus, I know that all the professors in the real world are verified to be people who have ran very successful online, and that goes for every single campus. Whereas watching videos online on how to do the money making skills, they're not very. It could be anybody really that's teaching you this, and there's no proof that they've actually done anything. So I think just that is definitely worth being here.
Right. And even with the community, it is promoted to ask smart questions. They tell you how to structure your questions so it's not wasting people's time and other people can learn from them. So I think that's a very useful thing as well.
Yeah.
I'd say the structure is quite different as well because in other channels, you'd see motivation being promoted a lot for doing work. You see a lot of motivational quotes, everything, but in the real world, they also teach discipline, that there's more to it than just motivation. You need discipline to succeed. So what has been your experience with that?
Well, my experience with that is when I first joined the real world or whatever it was in its previous form, I understood motivation very well. I understood that you needed motivation to get things done, and that's how you get things done very easily. And that's because you want to get it done. But then you come a day, could be a week, it could even be the next day that you just don't want to do anything at all. And everyone has that. Motivation doesn't last forever, but discipline does, which is why it's taught so prominently in the real world. Finding discipline is definitely very hard if you've never looked at it before. My personal ways that I found how to do it was to have your friends who preferably are also on the same sort of journey as you with self-improvement and also all the money making skills, or even in the real world. Having them messaging you, making sure you're getting things done, because it just gives you that sort of pressure. Make sure you get it done, because that way you haven't got to try and make up some stupid excuses of why you haven't done it. As well as we had a shared checklist with each other. We would write down the night before so what we needed to get done the next day. And then we awarded certain points for getting each thing done, which would then have a store for these things, these bad habits that we still wanted to do. So that wouldn't make us, so we had to be productive so that we could earn these points to then be able to go and do these bad habits that we really wanted to do, which just made which made the productivity into sort of a game. So you still get in that sort of, what's it called? You're still disciplining
Gamification.
yourself. Yeah.
I've had a similar experience as well, so I'd like to share that. I've met 5 other people who I've really clicked with, if that's the right way to say it,
Yeah.
from the real world. And we set up our own group, and now we do something similar where we call each other 2 times a week, and we give each other updates on the progress we've done. If we fail to complete the task we set for ourselves the call before, we have to do 100 push-ups and submit it to the group. So it's nice having that same journey together, like same direction of journey.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And it's so much harder to find people like these in the actual world. It's just it's so nice with the real world because they're concentrated. You know, people who have joined it have that mindset as you have, whereas maybe you only would have found one friend from high school who would have been similar. So
Yeah.
that's a big part. That's all my questions for you, Lewis. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no
That
worries.
was great. I wish you all the best, and we'll keep in touch through the real world. Goodbye.
Sounds good. Bye.